Very good morning and welcome to this little illustrative video on how to make a case study. And I've included in an engineering college only to illustrate the fact that these case studies have been used extensively in social studies and management studies situations, scenarios, and perhaps by lawyers, maybe by architects, maybe by doctors, and so on. But whatever it is, the concept of this case study is very old as 1865, where Frederick Laplace used it to study family budgets and social structures. But later, maybe during early 20th century, 1900, 1905 or so, the Chicago School uh, used these, especially social scientists such as um, Robert Parks and Ernest Burgess, used these case studies to study urban life, crime, and social issues. Perhaps this case study was used very effectively for the first time in the Hawthorne study. Hawthorne studies involved studying how to improve employees' productivity at Western Electric's Hawthorne Works Factory somewhere in Cicero in Illinois, where researchers conducted these case studies on worker productivity to study social dynamics at Hawthorne Works Factory. So this case study is really a very old one. About 100 years ago, it took its formal shape, and since then it has been used in business school, architecture schools, and then maybe medicine schools, and so on, everywhere other than an engineering college. That is what prompted me to make this little presentation to introduce these case studies into engineering colleges. It's too huge a subject and hence it is Herculean for me to cover everything in one go. But I'll try to introduce a little guide using which we can build a case study in many subjects in engineering and use them effectively. This is a little historical perspective of what is a case study. In the next couple of slides, we'll try to see what is a case study briefly in a nutshell, and then we'll see why is a case study, and then we'll see how a case study fits into our curriculum, program outcomes, and program specific outcomes, and so on. So let us begin to see what is a case study. A case study is a story-like narrative, possibly a hidden meaning and purpose, and explains the challenges faced by an organization or an individual. The solution is not given. It is the solution needs to be put forth by the student. As a student is asked to put himself in the shoes of actual decision maker and come up with a solution or multiple solutions. So far so good. We'll ask the question, why is a case study needed at all? We will try to answer that in the next slide. Many students nowadays, they are more inductive than deductive. That is, they learn from examples and by group thinking than by individual logical reasoning. They need to be encouraged to practice empathy, work in a team, and think about open-ended questions rather than closed-ended questions like specify what is a plus b whole square. It's an open-ended, it's a closed-ended question. You just give an answer and there ends the matter. And then they need to learn about work handian, okay? Um, and need to learn that there could be more than one solution to a problem, unlike some engineering situations where there is one solution, one problem, one solution. Many problems have many solutions and they may need to be looked at from many angles. These things you can propose and inject into students' psyche through case studies. That's the reason why we need case studies. And we'll see what are the essential components in a case study. Almost all, if not all, case studies have three components present in one order or the other. Number one is a decision maker who is grappling with some question or a problem to solve. We will put the student in the position of the decision maker and ask him to think as to how he can react in a real life situation. And then we'll present the problem itself. It may be in an industry, or it may be in a family, or a country, or an organization, or an educational institution. What is the problem? How the student faces the problem? That should be injected somehow or the other into student mind. And we provide support data, which may include tables, charts, videos, images, and several such other supporting data. We know the history of case study a little bit, and then we know what is a case study a little bit, and then why a case study is needed a little bit, and what are the components of a case study. We'll now try to see uh, what are the advantages of case study, specific advantages, and how it fits into the course outcomes, program outcomes, and so on. Okay, we'll see that in the next slide. I've listed the advantages here and the attributes which program outcome it addresses. Exposing the students to the process of problem solving using engineering tools, decision making, coping with ambiguities, working in groups, learning as a habit. All these are outcomes of using a case study in teaching any subject, any one subject, which requires a little bit of analytical skills. It addresses CO2. I would encourage everyone to go back and see the list of program outcomes in whichever department you are and identify what is this program outcome. Mostly exposing the students to process of problem solving involves program outcome number 2. Similarly, use of engineering tools satisfies program outcome 3. Then decision making in complex situation including finances, CO11. This COs 11 and 12, they are rarely supported by any single course in engineering curriculum. So using case studies will ensure that CO11 and 12 are addressed. Then coping with ambiguity that involve professionalism, ethics, societal impact analysis, and so on. These will address COs 8, 9, and 10. Then working in groups. This is perhaps not addressed by any course other than the project work, and perhaps, of course, nowadays as we see, community service projects. So this case study will try to address CO7, and if you induce this case study kind of thinking, that will prompt him for lifelong learning, CO12, which is perhaps not addressed in any one of the courses that are in an engineering curriculum. So this case study method is an important, very important aspect that needs to be included in engineering curricula. Many things regarding case study, we will actually now jump to the adventurous and exciting step of how to write a case study. There is no single mantra that will solve all the topics involved in writing this case study. So I'm trying to propose something here which is simple, which everyone can immediately grasp and do something about it. So let us start with it. Okay. Before that, let me say, do not underestimate or overestimate the steps given below. For what it is worth, Rigorously follow the steps given below. And later, when you are proficient in doing all these, do not limit your creativity only to this. But to begin with, follow the steps, write a couple of case studies, and then venture on to take this advice of not limiting your creativity only to these. Okay? With that, let me pour what I think is a good way. Okay, as a beginner guide, write down what you want to keep. Many of us think why to write it down. It's all in my brain, but many a times it's really not sufficient. When you put it on paper and discuss with others, then your ideas will begin to crystallize. So write down what you want to teach, essential practice, essential principle. What is it that you want to teach? Write it down. Then write down a situation that will teach what you want to teach. In this situation, you put the name of a company, you use the name of a company or an organization or a country or a school, whatever it is. Write down a situation, name of a company. Then write down who is the decision maker, designation, description, role, etc. Maybe a president, maybe a sales manager, maybe a design engineer, and so on. Write down description of the problem, all the questions, decisions to address, and so on. I am asking all these to be written down because once you write it down, then it crystallizes. And then write down supporting information. Okay, they may involve cost, they may involve statistical data, they may involve images, they may involve decisions, and so on. Once you all these things are ready, the rest is weaving a story around them. You casually create a narrative around all that will complete the case. Now we'll see an example of how we follow this. I will write these one at a time and fill in the details as to what we write. As an example, I'll take the example of a die casting industry and then apply these steps to writing a case study. Let us begin that. Write down what you want to teach. For example, I want to teach the class that cheapest may not always be the best. Customer perception is also a thing that you need to consider. Let us say I want to inculcate this into the minds of the student through a case study. So I have written down, cheapest may not always be the best. Customer perception is also important. And I want to let him know that he needs to know when he is working in a die cast industry, he needs to know costs of metals. What are the relative costs? Is aluminum very costly, or is iron very cost, or what else? Copper, bronze, and so on. Another is we want him really to familiarize himself with the use of MS Excel, at least limited uh, in a limited way. And I want to teach him like a surface finish, what kind of surface finish you can expect. These are all the things that I want to study in the case study that I am planning to write. Write down what is the situation. Okay, it's a die casting company. The company's name is Forward Die Casting Incorporated. I've just given a name. You can use a similar name anywhere, but make sure that you don't use an existing company's name as far as possible. If it's the name of a company of your relatives, they may feel bad about what you say about that company and practices and so on. So as far as possible, pick a fictitious name. So our situation is that it's a die casting company, and then the company is trying to bid for a big order, maybe a million components or so. It is trying to uh, bid, and the decision that needs to be taken is to decide on the cost and the bid amount. This is often a very difficult and tricky thing. Most of the salespeople and presidents of big companies, they are really worried as to what cost to specify as a bidding amount. Because if it's too high, it may not be liked by the customer. If it's too low, then also that amount may not be liked by the customer, and it may not be profitable to you. Where is the equilibrium? That is really difficult to decide unless you do a thorough analysis. So I want to put these into the student's perspective and write down who is the decision maker. The decision maker, let us say, is the president of the company who is bidding for the deal. It is his prestige and the profits of the company. We'll put the student in the position of the president of that company. So you need to visualize what are the pros and cons of floating that material, floating that bid, and so on. We'll describe the problem. The problem described involves the company, president of the company needs to decide on material to choose, and then he needs to choose the order quantity to bid, and then surface finish. When I say order quantity, if the order is let us say 200,000, what is the cost to bid? If it's only 20,000, what is the cost to bid? What kind of surface finish to specify, and so on. Then we write down the supporting information. Supporting information involves the dimensions and shape of the product to be made, and along with other specifications, color and so on, densities of various materials, and the market cost of the metal. With this as the data, the president needs to specify what are the order quantities, what are the costs, and so on. Perhaps specify them as an Excel file so that it can be presented in a board meeting, and um, the decision can come out, as a collective decision can come out. So the president here acts as a leader who will take in all the data and put forth a solution. Prepare the case study in a Word file, and I will try to show it here in a Word file. We'll quickly read through it and then um, try to appreciate what we are trying to do there. I would encourage you to solve this case study, and then you will understand what is involved here. Let me open the Word file here. If you click on it, it will open. I'll do that. Let me show this. Let me show this. This is the description of the case study. As I said, the name of the company is Forward Die Casting, and as a president, you have been asked to bid on the Olympic symbol, the Unity cross shown in the figure. You have this Unity cross with various dimensions shown in there, and the supplier will want a solid cross. It's not a hollow cross, not a hollow one, for their packaging and promotion in the most non-ferrous metals. Maybe aluminum, maybe brass, maybe zinc, maybe magnesium, maybe lead, and so on. Okay, they want you to bid. What is the cost in aluminum? What is the cost in brass? What is the cost in zinc, magnesium, lead, and so on. The president of the company needs to decide which one to quote and why. Of course, they want relatively smooth finish, which requires no machining and with no screws to cut off. If it is cast, you'll have extra material appended to it, and you need to cut it off. You are authorized to charge 5.13 times the cost of the material in an individual cross. The cost analysis that is given to the president reveals the following. Aluminum die-cast alloy involves this much cost, 40.53. Brass 53.07. If it is zinc, it is 21.74. If it is magnesium die-cast, it is 52.74. If it is lead, it costs 10.47. Further, in the company forward die casting, the production and overhead cost is approximately equal to 2.3 times material cost plus 0.528. If you go to a gold shop to get some work done, they would say this is the lost material cost. So production and overhead costs are 2.3 times metal cost plus 0.528. This 0.528 is for special handling cost. The bid quantities are 50,000, 100,000 and 300,000. So the president needs to specify if it is 50,000, what is the cost? If it is 100,000, what is the cost? If it is 300,000, what is the cost? Okay. The densities of the materials are given. Aluminum is so much, 2643. Then brass is so much, zinc is so much, magnesium is so much, lead is so much. So the president, what he needs to do, he needs to tabulate essential figures, including metal cost, handling cost, production and overhead cost, selling price, and profit for each quantity and each material. Let the last column be the profit per unit. You can tabulate this problem as a Excel spreadsheet very easily using MS Excel. And using that, you do an analysis and prepare a small report to be presented to the board of the directors as to which material you would propose, as to what bid order quantity is good for us. For that bid order quantity, maybe 50 or 100 or 3,000, what is the best material where we can achieve maximum profit and so on. Okay, this is an excellent problem which touches on the surface of die casting machine, and then more on production and costing topic. I think this will give a total overall view of a case study as a means to posing open-ended problem and asking the student to put himself in the position of a responsible employee and think. This prompt kind of lateral thinking, deep thinking, thinking about others, thinking about companies, thinking about customers. I think that's all I have today. Have a great day, and I wish you a nice time writing case study. Thank you so much. Have a great day.